All right. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? It is Tuesday. It is the 26th of March, and this is 15 Minutes to Mastery. And I'm Cesar Mascoro Jr. with Manufactured Home Sales Master. We come in here each and every morning at 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time to get you a little bit of inspiration, motivation, and information to help take your life, your business, and your career to a whole new level. And so sometimes we talk about things that have to do with the mindset. Sometimes we talk about things that have to do with the business itself, right? The homes, just things that have to do with the overall sales process. And we figure out how we can take those things and utilize them to best help our clients, right? Because we know we're in the problem-solving business. We solve the problem, we sell the home. And one of the things, every now and again, we got to come in here and just talk straight up business. And so I want to get into something that has to do with the construction of our homes. I want to talk to everyone today on what the difference is between a manufactured home and a modular home. All right. Some of you may sell both. Some of you may have access to both, depending on the factories that you purchase from. And so it's important that we understand, and you probably have a better grasp on this than some others that don't, or maybe those of you in the manufacturing community space that don't really deal with the modulars. But it's always good to know, because I'm sure you get those questions from potential customers or clients who come in and ask you, well, are these manufactured, are they modular, or are they mobile homes, right? First of all, we've got to make sure that we understand that mobile homes no longer are built. There are no more mobile homes. Okay. I know that everyone uses the term mobile home still, or a good portion of people still do. Companies out there use it in their company names and so forth. But since 1976, there are no more mobile homes. They are not constructed anymore. Prior to 1976, that home was constructed prior to that. Yes, it was a mobile home. And in those cases, mobile home had no real building code attached to it. Manufacturers had pretty much free reign on what they were going to build, how they were going to build it, and what materials they were going to use in it. In 1976, federal government got involved, and now manufactured homes have to meet a certain construction safety code that was established by the federal government, right? And so that right there, folks, first of all, HUD code, right? If your home has a red metal tag on the outside of it, on the sides, on the ends, okay? If it's a single section, you'll have one. If it's double or a multi-section, it'll have two or three, depending on how many sections that home is. So if your home is a HUD-coded home, it'll have a red metal tag on it with the HUD label on it. And so that is built to the Federal Code of Construction and Safety Standards. And we're going to dive a little deeper into that when we get into the benefits of both the HUD versus the mod. Okay. Modular homes are built to IRC or IBC. That's the International Residential Code or International Building Code. The International Residential Code is mainly what is used within the municipalities, okay, of most cities in the United States. So what that means is that for a home to be built, that home must be designed and constructed according to the International Residential Code, which is the guiding source, so to speak, when it comes to single family residential construction. Okay. And that's why when we run across those situations where we have a potential customer who may come into your office and they've got a piece of land, but it's within the city limits, right, of that municipality, a lot of times you cannot place a manufactured home on there, because again, the manufactured home is built to HUD code, whereas the modular is built to that IRC or IBC. So it would tend to have to be a modular home. if it was going to go within the city limits, unless that home is going into a manufactured home community, of course, right? But we talked about that person that comes in with their own piece of land. However, if you're talking about somebody who does not have land but needs to be within the inner city because of whatever it may be, maybe the transportation is easier, they don't own a vehicle, they need to get to and from using public transportation, so they want to be within the inner city, they would have to be in a manufactured home community, right? In order to be able to get the affordability of going with some sort of manufactured home. And that way you can place it there. They'd rent the lot and be purchasing the home. But a lot of times folks will tend to, they tend to think that, well, how many times have you had a customer come in and right off the bat just say, I want to get a modular, I want to get a modular. And so we as sales consultants need to make sure and understand, why is it that they're saying that they need to have a modular? Because plenty of times, there's so many times right now that most of those folks will come in with the preconceived notion that the modular is going to be a better option for them from the construction and mainly construction side of things, right? They think that a manufactured home is not built structurally sound. It's not a safe home. And like I said, the home is built to HUD code. You take any builder out there, okay? All builders are going 16 inches on center on their floor joists, 2x6s and 16 inches on center. Exterior wall studs are 16 inches on center as well. Your interiors are 24 inches on center most of the time because they're not load-bearing walls. Okay. And the reason we're getting into this is because yesterday we spoke about communication. We spoke about the importance of communication. And a piece of that was, how are we expressing ourselves to our potential clients? Are we using industry terms, or are we speaking to them in a manner that they can understand it? Right. And so what we're getting into right now is how to explain to a customer the difference between a HUD and a mod or modular home, the benefits, and then how it would affect the financing, right? Because ultimately, somebody walks in your door and they're looking to save money. They're looking to be in something affordable, right? And we all know that if we go with a modular, which modulars, if you carry mods, when I was on the retail side, right, and in the last few years, we carried Champion Homes, and so Champion here in Texas they were building mods as well, so we sold mods along with the manufactured homes that we had, depending on the need. Right, it's my job as the general manager or as a housing consultant to make sure that it's in the best interest of that client to go with the modular. And the way I've always addressed it with customers is, we've got to understand why mod. Why are you trying to go mod, right? One, do you already have land and the land requires it to be? Is it in a community or an area that's zoned strictly for homes that are IRC code? Okay, maybe they're in a rural area, but it's still larger lots, and they've got some restriction covenants, and those restriction covenants, it states that no manufactured homes are allowed. So you've got to verify, can I do a modular home in there? Because even there are some areas, remember, you've got to understand this, there are some areas that even though it doesn't allow manufactured, it still won't allow modular either. Okay, they want it to be a site-built home, stick-built home on site. With that, there's nothing really that you can do. However, going back to the situation, somebody comes in, they're saying they want to get a home, they want to get a modular home. Okay, first of all, are you required to do this? Is your land requiring it? Is it zoned strictly for a modular or a site-built home? Two, is your lot within the inner city? Because then we know, yes, okay, most likely you're going to, and it's easy enough to call down to the planning and development department of that municipality, whatever city you're in, whatever market you're in, to find out. You give them the address, you ask for the zoning department, you give them the address, they'll tell you if that is zoned for a manufactured home or not, right? Save yourself some time, do it in front of your customer so that you can help them and be that source of information. Then the other reason, right? The third thing that comes up is usually, it's a preconceived notion. They hear that modulars are better. They think that modulars are that with a HUD or a manufactured home, they're thinking mobile home, right? Oh, this is a POS, not really well-built house. And so we want to go with a modular. And that's where we as a housing consultants, you as a retailer, you as a community manager need to be able to understand, to explain to them the differences between, right? The benefits to it. So here's the thing. Cosmetically, if your builder builds a home, both as a HUD and a mod, cosmetically, aesthetically, it does not look different. It's not going to be, except for the pitch on the roof, mainly. And then, but the other things are structural differences, right? 2x6 walls, exterior walls, as opposed to 2x4 walls. The framing on the subfloor is probably different, right? You've got king studs, you got the double studs next to the walls and the doors, where on a manufactured home, you got single studs. Your full-size headers over the windows as well. Okay, so it's what you can't see that's the difference. However, those are just some of the things that are different, are going to add to the cost of the home, right? Plus, you also have to keep in mind, if that customer comes in already with land and they do not want the land to be a part of the loan, their thought is, I'm going to go buy myself a modular home, and I'll just get the home, and I've already got the land, and I don't have to tie up the land, because that's one of the benefits of coming to a manufactured / modular home retailer. When you go modular, you're going to finance. The land is always part of the loan. You have to keep that in mind. You have to explain that to them. The land will be a part of the loan when you're going with modular home. So do you want to tie up the land with it? If not, then we should look at going manufactured. The warranties are going to be the same. The materials are going to be the same. It's cosmetically, aesthetically, it's going to look the same if you're with a builder that builds that same floor plan as a HUD and a mod, like I said, with the exception of the pitch on the roof and some structural components in the house. But overall, you get to save yourself some money. So what is the benefit of going with a HUD home versus a modular home? Well, going with a HUD coated home, you're going to save yourself costs. You're going to have the ability to finance the home by itself without using the land. You're going to be able to, at the same time, if you wanted to limit the amount, or if your client wanted to limit the amount of improvements that had to be included in the loan, going manufactured is the way to go, because you do not have to, it does not have to be a full-blown real estate loan where it's going to require everything to be done, just as if you were doing new construction where the retailer has to be in charge of everything. There's cost savings with going with a manufactured home, even if you're going land home. If you go with a conventional land home loan on a manufactured home, they can a la carte what they want to include in the loan. Whereas if you go modular, you have the retailer has to be the builder of record, and everything must be done by the retailer in order to protect the retailer and make sure that you're meeting all the requirements of the government, of the lender, and so forth. So it adds a lot of cost to the loan when you go with a modular home, not just the cost of the home. Now, when you have the option of going manufactured or modular, but it just, the client's good with either one. The client's good with manufactured. Why would you have to go modular? And mainly it comes down to appraisal purposes. If you were looking at purchasing, if that client is looking at purchasing a larger piece of land, where your loan, when you include home and improvements and land, is going to be upwards of $300,000, maybe $350,000 to $400,000 for sure. More than likely, you're going to need to go modular in order to get the appraisals that you need in order to make that project work. It may actually be a little bit lower than 350. I know that a couple of years ago, we were having troubles during COVID, right after COVID, and we were having trouble getting the appraisals at anything over 275, 280 here in Texas, when the land prices were all over the place and things of that nature. So it just really depends on where you're at right now, what market you're in, and things of that nature. But the appraisal is going to play a huge part of it, because modular homes, when they're appraised to the other site-built homes in the area, whereas a manufactured home will be appraised to the manufactured homes in the area. The issue with that is this: it's not that those manufactured homes are valued that much less. It's just sometimes the appraisals on those manufactured homes, you got to remember, if they didn't use the land as part of the loan on the tax rolls, the value of that home is just the value of the home, whereas everything else, it's home and land and improvements. So sometimes people get confused and thinking, well, that's a cheaper product because it only appraises for $80,000. Yeah, but that's the home by itself. You still have to add the land and the improvements and everything that's on there. So combined, it would still match and meet, but that's not how those comparables are done. So that's why when you get into those higher loan amounts, you may have to go with a modular in order to meet the appraisals that are needed in order to get the project done. There's so much more that you got to take into consideration when it comes to the differences between the two. This isn't just a 15-minute segment. This is really a half-day type training where we could really break it down and get into it so that you can confidently express to your customer in a manner that they would understand the benefits to them of going with a modular or a manufactured versus a modular, and vice versa. I hope that this helps just a bit. If you've got any questions about this, feel free to reach out right here, comment on the video, or send us a direct message, send an email to us, info@cesarmascorojr.com. We'd be happy to get you the information you need. You guys have a great Tuesday. We'll be back in here tomorrow for our next 15 Minutes of Mastery segment. Like we always do every 8:15 Central Standard Time, we're in here to get this out to you. You guys have a great day. Finish out the month strong. And as always, I can't wait to meet you.